connection. Wonder if we ought to try this one again. Is anybody out there? Is this thing on? Can you hear me? Can you see me? It's the worst beginning to a Facebook field trip ever. There's a viewer. All right. Hi, guys. Hey, welcome, welcome, welcome. Glad you're here. We had some technical difficulties, but now we're here. We're coming to you live from Rocky Shores. We're talking about grizzly bears. Mike, thank you for checking in. I'm so glad that we're out there. We're going to talk about grizzly bears for a few reasons. One, because they're awesome. But two, because it's kind of the time of year you might start to see them out and about, maybe in Yellowstone or wherever. But I'm not the bear expert, but I will introduce you to one. Hello, Joanne. You guys, she's all masked up. If I remember right, your sweet mom-in-law made that mask for you.
Yes, she sure did. She sure did.
Joanne talked to us about Nora the polar bear. I think a week ago.
Right.
If you missed that one, scroll back through Facebook because all of the Facebook Lives live there. But you get to take care of the grizzly bears.
Right, I get to take care of grizzly bears too.
What do you have planned for us today?
So we're going to show
everyone where we are.
Thing. So we're in what we call the ranger station here at Hogle Zoo, overlooking the pool. The grizzly bears are currently pulled off exhibit, so we're going to walk around to this brown wooden door over here.
Hi, Kennedy.
It's going to get behind the scenes pretty quick here.
Okay, guys, we're going behind the scenes into the grizzly bear exhibit. Instagram's coming along for the fun as well. Leona, hi. Thank you for watching. Okay, you guys.
Got the rest of the A-team in Rocky Shores here.
Gang.
So I got Crystal and Michelle helping today as well.
Crystal and Michelle, two champion bear keepers.
Okay, so Michelle, she's got some fun stuff in her bucket right there. We're going to give the grizzly bears some fat. So this is a treat part of their diet. It's not part of like their regular diet. Polar bears, this is a part of their regular diet. And this is just a little extra we had left over.
Okay.
So the grizzly bears are going to get it. And then the real fun thing that we're going to do is we're going to put some honey on the windows. So one of my favorite enrichment, I like to call it honey windows. It's real creative naming. So Crystal, you want to take one of these?
Honey windows.
And I'm going to take the other one. And we're just going to draw some pictures on the window. Then what's going to happen is these two ladies are going to go walk off. We're going to close up this gate over here.
And the bears are off through that door, right? That's
exactly,
their back holding
through that
area.
big rock facade over there.
I have a couple questions. So I don't go into dangerous animal exhibits very often, and I always get a little anxious. Do you guys, as keepers, do you feel? I know it's part of your day to day.
When we work with dangerous animals, we always have two people. So there are two people there to verify where the animal is. You always want to know where the animal is, not where the animal is not.
Okay.
So cool, you don't see the animal, but do you know where they are?
Right.
So we always make sure we know where the animals are. And then we have people, your other person comes and verifies that, and they double check your locks for you to make sure that those locks are 100% secured. Okay, so we're going to just draw on the windows.
Let's do some honey. You have to look what the bears do. Can you guys see how
old-fashioned fat scatter
deep that hole
around?
is?
Go ahead,
Ankle
Michelle.
twisters.
Yeah.
What do you guys write? Messages of love?
I'm going to draw sunshine. Just because,
love the honey
why
windows.
not?
So this is, yes. Look at that.
So when we bring the bears back on, the bears are going to come over and they're going to lick this honey off of the window. And we'll be on the other side. And so we can see their little tongues on the other side.
Big old tongues.
Their tongues are actually pink and black together. Polar bear tongues are black. And then the grizzly bear tongues are pink and black together. And it's quite adorable. Crystal drew a nice big heart.
We've had some great questions rolling in.
Sure,
you guys
bring
keep
on
the
the
questions
questions
coming, and as we're going to finish it. Well, first of all, Eileen said she has some extra fat she could donate. She could figure out how to remove it. Those are her COVID extra pounds, probably.
Yeah, your COVID-19 that comes in. Yeah, exactly.
Yes, Jaden, we do know which bear is the largest, and we'll show you that when they come out. We have 3 grizzly bears. They're siblings, Dolly, Lulu, and Coda. And when they come up to the window, we'll have Joanne kind of walk us through how you can tell them apart.
Our bears, they came to us from the West Yellowstone area. So, Crystal, you want to take my honey mess? Okay. I got the
now,
little tub.
Cohen wants to know if honey is good for the bears. Is this a special treat, like we might eat a cookie after dinner?
Kind of, yeah. So bears, they're opportunistic eaters, and they're going to eat anything that they can find. And bears are also into the most bang for their buck. So there's a lot of calories in the sugar of the
Oh,
honey.
okay.
And so like it's a great quick energy source for them. Okay, so why don't
Okay,
the three of us step out?
We're gonna sneak out. Nobody back up because there's a lot of little
There's a lot of places to trip in
pitfalls
here.
in here.
Yep, exactly.
Glad I wore my sensible shoes. You know, you guys also sprinkled some other treats out here. It
Yep,
looks
they've
like.
got their morning produce, so they get a little salad mix, some carrots,
Great.
some yams. Okay, so we're gonna do this big lock.
So
here.
Emma, that's a good question. We'll ask Joanne what they eat in the wild, but it sounds like they kind of eat anything they can find. I don't want to get too far from Joanne. She's got to lock the big gate. We have people tuning in from Wyoming. Hi, guys. The elephants, we just went live with elephants yesterday, you guys. If you've missed a Facebook field trip, they live right here on our Facebook page. You can also get them on YouTube as well, on our YouTube channel, which is just Utah's Hogle Zoo.
Okay, so our door is all secured. So Michelle and Crystal are gonna go lock just gonna rinse some honey off of my hands.
Okay, so we have flowers, we have hearts. Now, so they would kind of eat anything they could find
They
in the
would eat
wild.
anything they could find in the wild.
Everything
exactly.
from fish to berries
Right.
to
So
bugs.
a science term for all the kids at home learning. So animals that eat plants and animals are called omnivores.
Omnivores.
So we saw a lot about carnivores when you guys saw the lions eating their deer, and they are
Yes.
called carnivores. Whereas like the giraffes, those are herbivores. They just eat plants. So bears, grizzly bears that we're going to see today are actually omnivores. They eat both. People are also omnivores. So our teeth are made so that we can eat and process all of the plant and animal matters.
We can rip meat or chew plants.
Exactly.
Right?
So let's step up a little bit closer and we'll be able to see the bears come out.
Yes, these bears did come to us from the Yellowstone area. A lot of you maybe have taken trips up there. They came to us in 2012 for the opening of Rocky Shores, and their mom was a nuisance bear, so they had a difficult choice to make with the 3 cubs. They didn't want to have to put the cubs down, so they found him a great home here at Utah's Hogle Zoo, and our exhibit was just getting ready to be opened, so we were so glad to receive those bears, and they've been here ever since. And Joanne, you've been working with them ever since,
yes,
right?
I have. They actually, when they came out of the wild, we were in the process of building our exhibit. So they're calling, saying if they're ready.
Okay, we
Yeah,
heard
go
them on
ahead,
the
guys,
radio.
we're ready. So the bears actually went and they lived at a couple of different zoos in the whole process of us building our exhibit. And then shortly before we opened, then they came here. So they lived at a couple different places for those first couple of years.
Oh, here they come,
so the
you
first bear
guys.
coming out, that is Coda. He's our male. So these 3 are all from the same litter. And it's fairly common for grizzly bears to have 1 to 4 cubs, sometimes 5.
5.
2 and 3 is a general good number for bears to have. Right next to him is his sister Lulu, and then up on top of the waterfall is Dolly.
Oh goodness, she snuck right by.
Yeah,
I didn't
she
even
sure
see
did.
her.
So Dolly is the smallest. Dolly weighs about 400 pounds. Lulu is about 480 pounds, and Coda is right around 630 pounds. There's
How much
quite a
did
bit
you
of,
say little Dolly was?
Dolly's just around 400.
Okay, so big brother Coda has her beat by a couple hundred pounds.
Exactly.
Okay.
So Dolly also, when she was a young, tiny little bear, she actually injured her growth plate in her back left leg. And so her back left leg is a little bit shorter. So it looks like she's walking with a limp. She's not walking with a limp. She's just walking with a short leg.
Which we love.
Exactly. She just makes her even more adorable.
Here
Looks like,
she comes.
well, because she's the smallest bear, she tries to like keep her distance and have an option to get away from the bigger guys. Like if you're the younger sibling, sometimes, I played that game with my sister. And I know she'll be watching later, so sorry, Karen, you know it's true.
You know I love you now, but.
Exactly, yeah. So she'll keep her distance. Lulu, she is in the middle in size, but she's also tries to use more like problem solving to figure out things in the exhibit, different enrichment items. She's definitely the thinker. And Coda basically just uses his big size and brute strength to get what he needs and wants.
Just to get what he wants.
Exactly.
But I love seeing these claws. You guys, can you imagine? I tell you what, if you came face to face with one of these creatures in the wild, my heart stops at the
It would
thought.
be quite a terrifying sight. So here in Utah, we don't actually have grizzly bears. The last grizzly bear in Utah died in like the 1920s. So there aren't any grizzly bears in Utah. Our neighboring states of Idaho and Wyoming, there are grizzly bears there. Oh, it looks like she's going to find the honey.
Baby girl.
So you can see that pink and black tongue.
Look at that speckledy tongue. Is there a reason for that?
It's just how it is.
That's just what they are? So
Yep.
they have a little... Okay, guys, I'm going to stand up and zoom out just enough so you can kind of...
So here in Utah, we just have black bears. So black bears, a large black bear would probably be about the size of Dolly here in Utah. The black bears that we have in Utah, they can basically be found everywhere in open meadows and in mountainous areas, in the forest, out in the desert. And they basically are well adapted to live their lives and eat whatever it is that they can find.
Now this is Coda who just
And
came up.
Coda
yeah?
just came up
so
here.
that kind
yeah.
of shows you the size comparison. Want to answer a couple questions. No, we will not breed these three. They're siblings.
Exactly.
Let's look at Coda's.
So-
And they're also 10, so we will probably not be sending them elsewhere for breeding at this point, I
No,
wouldn't think.
the majority of black bears and grizzly brown bears that are in zoos in the United States actually are rescued bears from the wild that come in similar situations to how these three came to us.
Look at this, the three bears.
Very rarely do we breed the North American black bears and brown bears.
Oh, okay. Because again, we're part of the species survival plan, and that pretty much helps ensure species in zoos of mostly endangered species. We want to make sure we keep those bloodlines nice and clear.
Well,
Look, they're
and
getting
it's
all
also-
frothy.
It's also a great opportunity so that these bears can still have a life and not have to
Absolutely.
get put down if they end up being in a bad situation out in the wild.
Now, Sammy wants to know how much they eat
How
every
much
day.
they eat. So their food intake really changes a lot depending on the time of year that it is. So our bears here, they go through a torpor or a hibernation phase. And that just means that their metabolism slows down, their heart rate slows down slightly, they breathe a little bit more slowly. And that's basically due, if you think about out in the wild where grizzly bears live, there's not a lot of food resources. So they've adapted to basically not required to eat anything in the wintertime.
And that would be hibernation in the winter, but they don't necessarily hibernate.
These guys don't
here
go
in the summer.
totally down into a full-on hibernation. They're not like the ground squirrels that live in our mountains here. They're still easily awoken and aroused, and our guys actually do eat some in the wintertime, but they don't eat a lot. We give them an opportunity to eat and drink whenever they want, but they don't really eat and drink that much.
I sort of think we need to put this on TikTok because they sort of look like they're singing something.
A little bit, right?
You guys, what TikTok song should we put to the bears? We're not on TikTok, but we could be. We could be. Now, do they care about birds that land in their exhibit or get near their food?
They have absolutely no concerns with the bears or the birds in the
They
exhibit.
kind of seem to have no concerns, John.
Right,
Is that
right,
fair
exactly.
to say?
Oh,
Here
look
we
at those
go,
feet.
you guys. Look at the size. Look at the size. Of that.
I know that. So what I always find is interesting, like Hannah just mentioned, like these bears are some of the largest carnivores that we have here at the zoo, and they have the tiniest little eyes. So if you look at their eyes compared to like the eyes of like the seals and sea lions, we can see that their eyesight is not actually their most useful sense that they have. That doesn't mean that they don't have good eyesight, but it just means that their nose works so much better than their eyes do in telling what's going on in their environment.
You can see them sniffing the air around here a lot, checking it out. They're so dang cute, though. I can't believe they can hurt a fly, right?
Well, so back to what they eat, though, and how much they eat. So throughout the year, though, once they start to wake up, and that's generally, I saw an article that the first bears in Yellowstone, grizzly bears, were seen up and about on March 9th.
I
So
thought I
it's
saw
about a
that.
month now that the
Okay.
bears have been up and active out in the wild. And that's kind of similar to what our bears have been like here, too. So throughout the year, we increase their food that they're getting, and they increase how much weight they gain. And then come late summertime, the bears actually enter a different metabolic stage called hyperphagia, where they eat everything in sight, and everything they eat just turns into fat. And they will actually gain probably, Coda will put on at least 100 pounds, and the girls almost 80 pounds each.
Wow.
And that's basically so that they can
Look
live
at that
throughout the
big
whole
old
winter
foot.
without having constant supply of food.
Now, is that also why they don't do a full hibernation here? Because their food source is steady and they're still getting fed.
Yes. We also have 3 of them that live together, and we don't know who gets the most of the food. So we want to make
Okay.
sure that if they didn't get enough over their hyperphagia period and they didn't get chunky enough, they can still
Sure.
get a snack in the middle of winter and not have to starve.
Now, biggest bear, how do grizzlies and Kodiak bears, like tell us a little bit about some of those differences.
So grizzly bears are actually a subspecies of a brown bear. So all grizzly bears are brown bears, but not all brown bears are grizzly bears. So we've got grizzly bears that are like our guys here. Then there's also other subspecies like the Kodiak bears are brown bears. The Eurasian brown bear is a brown bear. And they all basically are living in different sections of the world, and they eat slightly different diets. So Kodiak bears are some of the largest brown bears, but they basically have evolved to live in a system where they have a constant high source of protein. So they're eating those salmon runs.
Oh, okay.
And so
they're
they
kind
can
of up north,
get
Alaska.
really big. Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Whereas if you live kind of like more on like the edge of a forest and like a meadow, you don't really have that same protein source. So your body, if you were a really big bear, you'd probably get hungry really quick. So these guys have actually evolved to be a little bit of a smaller bear.
Now, Sammy wants to know if you ever have to take care of their claws.
So all three of our bears are actually trained for a voluntary nail trimming.
Oh my goodness,
and
you guys.
we just trim them
Live?
so that we can just keep, if there's any rough edges, we want to make sure that they don't split at an unnatural pattern. Out in the wild, obviously, they don't get a manicure every now and then, but
would they be scraping
also,
and clawing at
right,
things
but
more?
also out in the wild, like
How
they can
big
get
they are.
hurt and people don't really care. And here at the zoo, we definitely care if anybody
Sure.
gets hurt. So we trim their nails. We don't trim them very short. Again, it's just basically to take the tips off. So yeah. So I'm a tall lady. I'm about 5'10", and this is Coda here.
And he's not even all the way
No,
up.
and he's not even all the way up. No.
Not even all the way up. That's a good comparison.
They definitely get some serious bedhead, though.
Do they grunt a lot?
These guys definitely make a lot more noise than our polar bears do. They got a lot more to say. But they also do a lot of, I don't know if you guys just saw that, but there was some silent communication between Lulu and Coda. It was just like a casual side-eye glance.
A
And
little
Coda's
side-eye,
like,
huh?
I'll go. That's fine.
Okay, I'm out. I'm
Yeah.
out. So Coda left. So their names are Dolly, Lulu, and Coda. They're siblings. They came to us from the Yellowstone area. They were rescued. And they've been hanging out here since Rocky Shores opened in 2012. Joanne, you and I were both caught off guard when we realized they're 10.
I know, they're 10. It's hard
You
to
and
believe.
I both went, that can't be right.
Yeah, time flies.
I just
Time
always
flies.
think they're 3.
Mm-hmm.
Now, everyone wants to know what sound the grizzly bear makes, Joanne. Now, she did not do a polar bear sound for us.
They'll also do a heavy exhale because they're bears, and they're not going to do
like
any
to
of their
sigh.
grunting. They do quite a bit of roaring, and it's more like a if another bear is not reading their silent body language,
Okay.
then they're going to let that bear know you are too close.
Okay.
And that's for sure.
So it's a big, scary kind of back
Yes,
off.
they definitely make some big scary noises. And oftentimes, like we never go in with these animals at all. There's always a protected contact scenario. And sometimes you just kind of get like, oh, they're just like big dogs. And then all of a sudden they yell at each other and you're like, that's a big dog that could kill you really quick.
That
So
doesn't sound like my dog.
yeah, they definitely you can appreciate just how dangerous bears actually are.
We've had a couple of questions about if they can swim. Now, I see them hanging out here in this water all
Yep.
the time. In the
Grizzly
summer,
bears
for
are
sure.
great swimmers. In the summertime, they're definitely in their pool quite a bit. And they shed their coats, similar to like your dogs and cats at home do. And this pool will get clogged up quite a bit
Oh,
with
does
all
it?
kinds of grizzly hair. Yeah. So I know we've got a very dedicated life support team, and shout out to them. You guys do a great job taking care of our pools.
There you go.
And they
You
also make it
rescue
look-
an animal from their natural habitat. That's a great question, Michael. Their mom was a nuisance bear up in Yellowstone. So what that meant for her 3 cubs is they just weren't sure how close they'd been in contact with humans. So the decision at that time is, do we have to put the bears down or can we find a good home for them? And luckily, that's really one of the great roles of North American AZA accredited zoos is we can provide a great home for some of these species that would otherwise be put down.
So
Can you
these
guys still
bears-
hear me? Did my mic just shut off? Okay, give me a thumbs up if you can hear me, and Joanne will keep talking as well.
So these bears also, they were actually, it was within their first year. So the grizzly bears are born generally, I believe like the general date is January 1st, that they just say all grizzly bears are born. And these guys
in their dens.
In their dens, in like their mom is hibernating and she will have her babies, and then babies basically just live off the fat of mom for that whole first winter time. Then they come out and mom will scavenge and she'll feed whatever she can find, feed on whatever she can find, and she'll feed her bears but also still nurse them. And actually these guys came to their zoo world in the beginning of August. So they weren't even a year old yet. So these bears would have had no life skills able to survive on their own. Generally then, if their mom was still around, she would have dug another den that following fall, like probably like August, September, October, and then they all would have hibernated together as a family. And then in that next year, the bears are actually going to learn what they need to do, and depending on if mom thinks that they're ready to go and like where they're actually living, and if they learn everything they need to know, then sometimes they'll either stay with mom for another winter or they'll go on their own. So again, it was in that first year. Oh, her little leg, she's so cute.
I know.
Yeah, I know.
She
It's
looks
so
teeny
tiny
compared to
Coda.
This is little Dolly, and yes, they're licking honey off the glass. The keepers did all sorts of hearts and sunshine and rainbows and things and honey, and they have been loving it. And it's given us a chance to see their cute little speckled tongues that I had no idea they have, which I love. Any other questions, you guys, while we have our bear expert here? Taylor, yes, Joanne says they do trim their nails sometimes, so I think we need to schedule another Facebook field trip to see how that happens.
Sure.
So we'll get working on that. Now, do they mostly just kind of mind their own business then? They kind of spread out, although sometimes I see them all lumped in there together taking a nap.
Like a lot of times I feel like they kind of will play favorites with each other. Like over the winter, we saw that Coda basically took all of the bedding and he put it in that center den. And the girls got this other shelter over to the side.
Coda's not a gentleman.
They when we did shift them off exhibit, it seemed like there was some tension there because he had this massive bed. Like I could crawl inside of the den and be 100% disappeared. And then as it wasn't as cold anymore, then they all kind of spread out and shared their space a little bit more evenly.
Now,
but again, Coda's really big, so he kind of just gets what he wants.
They're not gonna cross brother.
It's not worth it for a fight. So the girls actually they cozied up with each other, and they were probably plenty warm. Two bears together has got to be a cozy bear pile.
They look so warm up there.
Yes, exactly.
Couple questions. Does Dolly's shorter leg cause any problems with her hip?
Not that we have noticed.
Okay.
Not that we have noticed, but we do constant assessments on how everybody is doing on their welfare overall, individually and as a group, and we haven't noticed any changes in that.
And then a lot of folks watched a Facebook field trip not long ago where we gave a deer carcass to our lions. Do you guys ever do anything like that with our
and
bears?
These guys really love it. So we have tried the different game meats, if you will, with the polar bears, and the polar bears do not like that. And grizzly bears love it all. And it's interesting
kind of true to their
see
personality,
that
isn't it?
like again, Coda will eat like the good parts, and then Lou will eat the parts that are a little harder to get, and Dolly's like, yay, scraps. And
yay, they left me something.
Yeah.
Is this what Coda now?
That one's Dolly.
Okay, this one's Dolly. I can't tell when they spread out a little bit.
Coda is furthest in the back, and then Lou is kind of in between.
Lila wants to know if they ever fight.
They do fight with each other. And it's not because we don't give them enough resources, but sometimes they don't know that there's enough resources.
Sure, they
so
get
if there's a preferred space or toy or food, sometimes they all decide that they each have to have that, even though there is plenty to go around for everybody.
I got to be honest, I'm like that with my siblings to this day. Like,
Exactly.
don't eat all the cookies. Don't eat it all.
Yeah.
Cohen wants to know what kind of food do they eat at the zoo and what's their favorite?
At the zoo, these guys love grapes. Doesn't matter the season, they love grapes. We don't give them a lot of grapes, but they do love their grapes. They love honey. They love peanut butter. We also, what else do they really like? They love fish. They love the fat that we gave them earlier. Stuff that they don't like as much, they don't really like celery. They don't eat broccoli. And how dare you try to give them bananas? So which is just
I
funny
would
to
have
me.
guessed them to like bananas.
Right, exactly.
Sweet
No, don't like bananas.
Easy to eat.
Don't like bananas.
Do any other species of bear have spotted tongues? That's a great question.
I think that the majority of them do, but I can't be 100% on that.
You said polar bears don't, though.
Polar bears, their tongue is mostly black, but some of them do have some pink spots on it.
Okay. That's been my favorite discovery of the day, is the spotted
their
tongue.
precious little spotted tongues.
If you guys haven't watched them lick this honey yet, they have pink and black speckled tongues, and I think it might be the more adorable thing I've seen. They do eat some fruit, right?
Yes, exactly. They do eat quite a bit of fruit. My favorite thing about bears is how they have like this great little texture on the bottom of their feet. So you can see Dolly with her sitting down there, and it's kind of almost like
Dolly, put it back,
it's like a fingerprint. So they've got like a full paw print.
You're going to show me?
You're
going to show me?
Maybe.
Oh, yes, she
see,
is.
it's all different.
There we are.
So not only is there a total size difference between them, but they each have a slightly different pattern in how like
fun.
the lines of their feet are.
You guys, can you see that with the glare? Oh, she's going to make it easier. What a good girl. Look at that. I love when they can hear us.
They understand exactly what you need, yeah.
Remind us, Joanne, of their weight, the weight difference.
So Dolly right here is about 400 pounds.
She's this one we're looking at?
Right there with her feet up. Her sister next to her is about 450, 460. And Coda in the back is in the mid 600s. And again, they're starting to put on weight now. We're increasing their diet weekly. But again, by the time late summer comes, I'm guessing that Coda might even be almost 800 pounds this year. So we'll see.
That's a big difference.
We
don't 200 pounds.
Exactly. We don't get them fat on purpose. Their biology basically just flips on a switch to burning calories to storing calories, which I think some of us can relate to that as well.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. But then I also don't, we don't drop 100 pounds over the winter either, though.
Lotta, I just want to respond to your comment about bears don't belong in confinement and they're not entertainment. These bears actually would have been put down years ago. Their mom just got too close to some campers up in Yellowstone. So they're actually rescued bears, and it's one of the great roles of zoos. So they're not here for entertainment, not at all. They're actually here to educate us on their species. They help teach us how to protect nature. They are here to teach us how to camp safely and how to recreate in our gorgeous mountains without coming into conflict. So you couldn't be more right, but for the wrong reasons. So I'm glad you joined in, and for everybody else who's actually learned something about grizzly bears in the wild, because you can't learn about them in the wild as well as you can by
I think you'd be learning about how to get away from a bear. And the best way to get away from a bear is to never get close to a bear. So there are a lot of great tips that we can all do when we are out in nature in bear territory. If you guys are walking on a trail, be loud, have conversations with each other, sing songs. The quieter you are, the more you're able to actually sneak up on wildlife, and sneaking up on wildlife is like the worst possible thing you could do.
Pretty much for any wildlife,
right? For any wildlife, exactly. So if they know that you're coming, you bet we can go watch away from the window.
By the way, there's a bear-aware cooler you can use. Keep your food locked up while you're camping.
So also a really great tip when you're out in the wild is that you want to make sure that all of your food is stored away from where animals can be smelling it and getting into it.
And that's a real key thing, is our campgrounds can get messy.
And you might be able to get lucky and never have a conflict, but if you end up leaving a messy campsite, then the next person comes in and they have to deal with the ramifications of staying in your previously messy campsite.
I have heard that if you are closer than a football field length away from a grizzly bear, you are too close. They actually can run really fast.
They can run really fast, and it is totally an urban legend that they can't run down a hill. They can run down a hill. There's nothing stopping them. Also, like, people are afraid to fall. Wildlife is not afraid to fall. Like, we see these large logs throughout the exhibit and stuff. I won't walk on them because I don't want to fall. But I see the bears wrestle with each other on that. They don't have the same kind of fear. They also have 4 points of contact with the ground. I only have 2.
Yes, so they've got a little more stable.
Mm-hmm.
Someone just chimed in. I didn't catch the name. Arena said when she hikes, she shouts out, "Bear, I'm here!" Just kind of the whole time. Because they'll likely go the other way if they hear you coming, right?
They don't want anything to do with people. If you think about it, like majority of animals, they basically don't want to have any conflicts. They want to save their energy for survival, not for potentially a life-threatening situation.
Now, Joanne, Eva would like to know how thick their fur is.
How thick their fur is.
You did say they sort of shed their fur.
They shed out this coat. So in all of the years that these guys have been at the zoo, we have never actually had to do any kind of anesthetization procedure where we actually can physically touch them.
So you've never got to touch
I have
these
never
guys.
been able to like dig my hand deep into that hair, but I'm guessing that their hair is probably 5-6 inches thick, especially like on like that wing that they have kind of like behind their arm, and that covers up the hump on top of their head. Sometimes when they come out of the pool, it looks like they have like a comb over because the hair on their hump just kind of separates totally. And grizzly bears, they have that large hump on their back because that's a huge muscle attachment for their arms, and that's how they're able to dig everything. They use those big nails so that they can dig into the ground. They eat a lot of ground squirrels. They'll dig up termite burrows. They'll dig their hibernation dens. They'll need those claws to dig. They'll also dig up a lot of roots and tubers that are out in the wild. It's a lot of starch in those things, and that's where they get their food.
Just amazing. So not all black bears are black, and not all grizzly bears are brown. You got to kind of look for that
Exactly.
hump.
The hump is definitely the big difference.
Now, someone with a former life support staff here said their hair is softer than you'd think, but it's very coarse.
Sure, I buy that.
Would you buy that? And then
we do pick up chunks of their hair when they shed it out. And we'll actually give that to other animals for enrichment. So I have touched their hair, but never while it's on their bodies.
I have something for Hannah here because Sebastian said a little known fact, the B in Cardi B stands for bear. Is that true? Hannah's kind of our resident pop culture. Is that true? I've caught her off guard. She has no idea what you're talking about, Sebastian. We have no idea what you're talking about. Now, Katie's dog is fascinated and keeps growling at the bears, watching this from home. So let's just pop right around one more time to watch them through the glass, and then we'll just kind of wrap this up and let Joanne head toward lunch. Now, we used to have grizzlies here in Utah, right? Years ago?
Long ago, yeah.
Not entirely sure what happened. 1920s.
So oftentimes when there's competition for resources, and bears are large animals, and they like a lot of the same stuff that people like. And oftentimes animals, when there is that competition for resources, they end up not being able to fight the fair fight. So they were.
Now, what is this body language we're looking at here? Are they?
I think Lou is just trying to get out of the way, and Dolly's like, I'm going to hold my ground.
Okay.
So, but also,
so Dolly's down here.
Dolly's laying down.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lulu was hoping to scoot her out of the way.
She's like, you're in the way of the honey.
Oh,
there's honey here.
There she goes. They're so cute. So I'm about 5'9". I'd say she stands about 5'9" like this, but she's not up all the way.
She's not quite up all the way, no.
They are just gorgeous. You guys, thank you so much for tuning in. So remember, our Facebook field trips live on Facebook forever. So if you've missed one, yes, we've done polar bears, we've done red panda, we've done, I love when they sit like that. Can we just talk about how cute that is? We've done some Asian big cat enrichment, lions, elephants. We've been up to African savanna. So if you've missed any of those, they live on Facebook. You can just scroll back. You can also, actually, that's a great question. Is this heated concrete here for the bears?
No.
Okay. They probably don't need it quite so much, huh? Because they have such thick fur. Yeah, you can scroll back through Facebook. You can also go to YouTube. Our YouTube channel, we post all the videos there. So if you have someone who loves wildlife and might not be on Facebook, you can send them that as well. I don't want to, I hate when it's time to turn away, but we are doing field trips every day. Oh, a little stretching. Namaste. Well, there you go. We got to stay here. We got to hang tight for a minute, you guys. Which, is this Dolly?
That's Dolly, yeah.
So she's stretching out that Achilles back there. I feel so good.
And time to take a nap. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's so great. All right, you guys. So Facebook field trips every day at 11:30. I'll turn this way so you can actually just still keep looking at the bear. And then don't forget to support your zoo this time. You know, we're not open right now. This would normally be the kickoff to our very busy season, so we do definitely take a hit while we can't be open. So if you're in a position to do so, I thought I attached the donate button here. Bye, Cowens. They're my family back in Philadelphia. So good to see you guys here. But go to hoglezoo.org, donate to your zoo if you can, and there's lots of ways you can do it. You can do just a donation, you can buy animal art, you can buy some of our artistic directors. He's done beautiful sketches, you can buy some of those. So there's a lot of ways to support your zoo right now. Can we give a big thanks to Joanne, our resident, Joanne, you just got overshadowed
that's
right
okay.
there. You're okay with that?
Yeah.
Oh, see, that's a good photo. Mm-hmm. Did you get that photo? Do you want me to stop moving? We're trying to get a photo with Joanne and a bear, so I'm going to hold really still. So great, Joanne. You're such a wealth of knowledge. Thank you for taking the time and sharing with us, you guys. Thank you for being here. Share it. Make sure your friends know. Facebook field trip. Good work, kids. Keep plugging away at school. Bye, guys. Thank you.